We're heading to Nottingham, a Neonraptor brewery, and this is their night drive radio in this stunning looking can. What's it going to be like? Let's check out the review to find out, shall we? Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. This is the last beer from the November haul. This is a beer from Neonraptor. They're a brewery in Nottingham, and a rather striking looking, very sort of futuristic can. It's called Night Drive Radio, and it's a session IPA coming in at 4.8%. So this is another brew we've not had before, Neonraptor Brewing Company. They pretty much shut down at the beginning of lockdown, and they only just started brewing again. So now there's more of their beers are now appearing in the bottle shops. So I thought I'd try this one. I love the can artwork. I think it's really sort of stunning. It's the second sort of drive related themed beer this month, the other one being the Daya. So let's pop this open and get it into a glass, see what it's like, shall we? Obviously you can see I'm in the conservatory today. Thought I'd just have a little bit of a change of scenery. I mean, I know some of my unboxings happen in here, but not usually, at the night, in the night time. So beer coming into the glass. It's got a really sort of it's really big head in there. I'm pouring it as slowly as I can, but it's still pretty big head there. So yeah, a bit of a rubbish pour, but you can see it's very yellowy, sort of straw-like. It's got a slight haze on it, but I wouldn't say it was very thick. I mean, session IPAs going to be a bit lighter. I mean, I always find it difficult between a session IPA and a pale ale, what the real difference is. I mean, obviously a session IPA is an IPA, but with less alcohol in it. We've got some interesting. I saw something floating there now, and it just flew by. It's gone now. Okay, so we'll just wait for that to settle a few more seconds, and just get some aromas. Yeah, I mean, very sort of session IPAs have their sort of usually very sort of citrusy. You've got orange in there as well, sort of tangerines. Yeah, it smells really nice and fresh and fruity. Not necessarily a beer that you would be drinking in the winter time, but it's I like these sort of beers. It's a Sunday evening, and I'm pretty thirsty. So let's get this down, shall we? Cheers, everyone. Really light, quite high levels of carbonation. I mean, obviously, you can see that froth that sort of doesn't seem to want to go away. It's not even going down at all. Quite fizzy, very sort of fruity. Tastes very much like a juicy, fruity pale ale. Citrus, orange, that's about it really. Yeah, I mean, it's very thin. It's a little bit overly carbonated, and it tastes to me like a pale ale. I mean, American pale ale. That's to me, that's what it tastes like. It looks like a pale ale, and it pretty much tastes like it. It is nice though. It is. I think it's just because it's so fresh and crisp. It's the sort of drink that if you are not really into the sort of very hop forward or very sort of fruity, when I talk about fruity, I mean like very sort of tropical fruity IPAs, that we drink on the channel. This is something in between, sort of a lager with that sort of. It's got that real refreshing, crisp taste to it. Yes, it's a little bit carbonated. Yes, it's quite thin, but at the same time, it's got a bit more taste characteristics to it. A little bit more of that sort of citrus and a little bit of orange. I mean, the orange is a little bit. You get the initial hit of a sort of an orange. And when I say orange, it is that sort of small, sort of that tangerine, that real juicy sort of orange, opposed to a sort of normal sort of orange, a sort of tangerine, clementine, those sort of small oranges. that are quite juicy and they don't have that sourness. And then you get that sort of, a very sort of general sort of citrusy lemon, lime, that sort of flavour. And there's a little slightness of, just at the end, there's a slight little bit of bitterness, almost like that sort of grapefruit sort of bitterness in there. And it's really nice, actually. I'm quite amazed that head just doesn't seem to be going at all. I'm not sure whether that's how it's conditioned in the can. I mean, I've had this. This is obviously the longest beer that I've had, because I bought this in November. When I poured it out, I'm going to check the can just to check the date. But I would have thought it's probably going to be September or something like that. Let's have a quick look on the can here. Let's put it round the right way around. That would help. Oh no, that's interesting actually. Oh no, there we go. 26th of August it's canned. So, it's not old. So I don't know. I mean, as you say, I don't think I've had any of my beers that have a head that would stay like that. That level of foam. Usually they die down pretty damn quickly. But this is probably the most sort of highly carbonated session IPA I think I've ever had. Yeah, I mean, it's easy drinking, light, crisp, citrus, light body, medium to high carbonation, just very sort of lemony, orangey, a little bit of floral, and a little bit of grapefruit on the back end. Really pleasant, but doesn't do anything super interesting. It's just, it's a very smashable beer. So, I think I've drank enough of that beer. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Neonraptor Night Drive Radio. It's a session IPA. It's 4.8%. But to be honest, session IPA, it drinks more like a pale ale. It looks like a pale ale. It smells like a pale ale. It tastes like a pale ale. If you think, I mean, when I'm drinking this, what it reminds me of the Vocations Hop, Skip and Juice. So if you've seen that, they now do that in little cans in, I'm sure it's Tesco. I think it's Tesco. It's very similar in terms of the flavour. Very juicy, very fresh, very light. But let's go through the scores, shall we? So firstly, aroma. So we had a lot of sort of lemons and limes, a bit of orange, tangerines. It's got a very pleasant aroma. It's very light, very sort of fresh, but not a real big, thick juice bomb in terms of that sort of, aroma sort of senses. So I'm giving it a 13 out of 20. Then appearance. Well, I mean, I haven't drank a beer like this with such a massive head. I mean, it's still, you can see there the levels of frothiness. Sometimes that could be down to the fact that maybe the glass is dirty, maybe the way it's conditioned in the can. It's certainly not the usual sort of beer that we have in terms of its appearance. But, if you look at the actual body of the beer, it's a lovely yellowy straw colour, hazy. It's a hazy pale ale. That's what I would call that. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I think it's got a nice appearance. And I do like beers that, retain a little bit of that sort of froth and head at the top as well. Flavour-wise, I mean, it's pleasant sounds a little bit derogatory of the beer, but it's actually a really good beer. Yes, it's a little bit overcarbonated. It's quite thin, but then at the same time it drinks like a pale ale. It's very crisp. It's supposed to, it's the sort of beer that you would, that's sessionable. Hence the name Session IPA. And it really just does fit that description. It sort of drinks at the level that it should be. It's got nice citrusy, fresh fruit flavours. Then there's a little bit of grapefruit just on the back end, just give it a little bit of bitterness, which I think really sort of gives it a little bit more of an edge over sort of your standard pale ales. So flavour wise, I'm giving it a 32 out of 40. Then value for money, I think I paid £4.50 for this, which, for a 4.8% session IPA is a little bit expensive, but it's a good beer. It's as I said, it's a session IPA, but in any other guise, it's very much like a pale ale to me. So 4.8% pale ale, £4.50. it's a 7 out of 10 for me. And then overall experience, well, this is a sort of beer that you can drink a lot of. This is a sort of beer that goes down well. It's not the sort of beer that where you sit and savour it. It's just something that you're just going to knock back and then, crack open another one. 4.8%, that's a reasonable sort of level, and it's obviously fairly sessionable. We're not talking about a 6, 7, even 8% sort of IPA, New England IPAs. It does drink very easily, and it has that nice citrusy sort of flavour without sort of any over strong bitterness. It's quite dry as well, and that's good, because I think that makes you want to keep drinking it. So I'm giving it a 14 out of 20 for my overall experience. So we top those scores up, we get a pretty commendable 74 out of 100. It's a Whitesnake beer. What sort of Whitesnake song is it? Well, one of my favourite Whitesnake songs, which is not the most commonly known, is a little song from the Ready and Willing album that came out in 1980. It's called Blind Man. It's a really, really beautiful song, and it goes well with this beer. So if you like Whitesnake, give that song a listen. If you like session IPAs or pale ales and you want something that's a bit lighter than your stouts at Christmas, this isn't a bad choice. So show you a can again. Neonraptor, Night Drive Radio. They do quite a lot of there's quite a lot of different beers that I've seen from Neonraptor. Give them a try. I think I'll be interested to see what some of their other beers are like. But that's a really good quality beer there. So till the next one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Keep on rocking.